Hi, everybody. This is Joel Simmons for another EarthWorks Turf Talk, and I have my dear friend Lawrence Mayhew with me. And we just finished recording a podcast where we talked about research and development. And I wanted to ask Lawrence directly. There is so much questions that we get at trade shows and other places as to what's new. But I really wanted, Lawrence, you to talk about if a turf manager wanted to play with a new product, and every year there's new products coming out. Obviously, there's a lot of new carbon products, but there's also a lot of new chemistries that come out. How is it best handled to do the R&D on a turf manager's individual place of business? How do they do the testing to actually help them understand, is this stuff any good, or is it gonna, or is it a mess? What's the protocols that somebody would want to take to build an understanding as to, is the product of any value on their property?
First protocol is will it burn up? Will
That's a
it
good one.
will it hurt? And how much can I put on and get away with it? So the best place to start is actually on a putting green or someplace where nobody's going to notice much.
Well, that's
And
not a putting green, but yeah, that's probably a place off to the side.
yeah, someplace off to the side, yeah, and just start there. You may or may not see anything. That really depends on what you're looking for. Are you looking for green up? Are you just looking for the long-term uh, longevity of your soil? Then you'll probably want to pick a spot somewhere on a green and somewhere on a fairway, and pull a soil sample first. Get a saturated paste test of both those sites. That becomes your control, as they say in science. Then do the treatment on those small areas. Come back the next day, pull another soil sample if you're looking for some sort of chemistry change. Like, what if you want to move sodium, for example? Then you would actually test to see if there was a change there. But the best way to do this is to just pick some spot and do not tank mix it with anything else. I mean, anything. Because if you do, you're no longer testing that person's product. You're testing something unique. So beware.
We get that always comes up is, how do you know if this is working when you've got so many other things in the
Yeah.
protocol? So I think that's probably as good a lesson as anything, is to just, it has to be isolated, and you have to have some kind of control, and a paste extract is often what we follow in that control. What about observations? Are observations scientifically valid? I mean,
Yes.
things you see with your eyeballs. How do you evaluate just an observation and talk about that?
Best way to do that is take photographs of before and after because our eyes adjust so well to conditions that our memory, our recall is not as accurate as we think it is. So definitely take a picture of whatever you're treating before and then after.
That makes perfect sense. So, again, I mean, there's so many products coming into the marketplace, and the other thing that scares me is, especially in the carbon realm where EarthWorks lives, there's so many linear products. I mean, people coming out with just straight molasses, straight worm tea, straight fish meal. These kind of products are coming out prevalently, and it goes against anything that we believe in, which is diversity. But how do you evaluate something as simple as that?
When I first started in this profession, I'd contact company A and they had the best humates in the world. Then I'd contact company B. They had the best humates in the world. Contact down, all the way down the line. So I
They
thought,
all have it. They all have the best.
what would happen if I blended them all together?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, now we got something. And I
That would
did
be
that.
better than the best.
I did that with two different rock phosphates and had a geochemical analysis of each rock phosphate. One was lacking in perhaps cobalt, where the other ones had a pretty good dose of cobalt in it. So combine the two together, put it into a graph, and graph it all out. And now we see a better balanced input. So I've been doing that a lot. Yeah. One ingredient, like you mentioned, molasses. Yeah, you're going to see a burst. You're going to see a green burst. You're going to see a biological burst. Then what?
Right.
Nothing. Nothing. So if you're going to build a product as a product developer, yeah, that's a great ingredient, but we're also going to put that worm casting extract in there too, because that's a great ingredient. And if you take a look at the chemical profile of these two, they complement each other. And you can bring in a third thing and a fourth thing and a fifth thing, so forth and so on. Lessons from Jerry Benetti right there.
Thank you, Lawrence, as always. And please,
Welcome.
if you have a chance, this week's podcast is Lawrence Mayhew and myself. And we went through a whole bunch of good stuff. So take a listen to the podcast as well. And I think you'll get a lot more information. And thanks again for listening.